Arizona Wildlife Views, brought to you by the sale of hunting and fishing licenses and the Heritage Fund, lottery dollars working for wildlife. Some projects made possible by the Sport Fish and Wildlife Restoration Fund.
Welcome to Arizona Wildlife Views. I'm Jim Paxon. The Boy Scouts has a long and proud history of mentoring young men into adulthood. Come check out the action when they came out to Ben Avery Shooting Facility for a fun shoot. Then we'll go up on the Navajo Nation for a youth deer hunt, followed by another great tip from Bass Pro Mike McFarland on catching those big bass. But first, I'd like to answer the age-old question, why I hunt? Hunting is good for the soul. I was raised in the tradition of hunting that has been passed down through generations. My forefathers hunted to survive. Even though I hunt for sport, I eat what I harvest. Medical research has shown that game is the original organic meat. As a society, we need to understand that food does not come from the grocer. All elements by which we survive, animal and vegetable, come from a process of birth, life, and death, the cycle of life. The vast majority of Americans support legal hunting. A recent nationwide telephone survey of Americans over 18 years of age, 94% of them supported the right to hunt, and 74% approved the practice of taking game by hunting. Hunting is always good.
Bring it here, buddy.
Harvesting is variable.
Here, boy.
Sometimes the most memorable hunts don't end up putting meat in the freezer. There is nothing comparable to crawling out of a warm sleeping bag in the middle of the night, gulping down some hot coffee, and hitting the trail in the dark to an area where we are so privileged to see the world wake up as the sun rises. It's a time to be in harmony with the world and realize that we are but a very small piece. That's soul soothing. A hunter has reverence for the order of the universe when he or she witnesses a meadow or a hillside come alive at the break of dawn. The crescendo of silence except for animal sounds and the thrill of being a part of nature is something unforgettable and almost inexplicable. Elk seen in the gray of early morning never fail to send shivers down my spine, whether I ever raise my rifle or not. Have you ever watched a turkey strut and fan and heard him gobble? Or had your cover blown by an old guard hen before the gobblers come into proper shooting range, and then watched in awe as the entire flock flies over the hill and into cover? Why, you'd surely agree that spectacle is better theater than anything on Broadway. There's nothing that can explain reveling in the music of a bugling elk while watching steam come out of his mouth on a frosty morning. That's part of the experience of hunting. Hunting brings us back to our history and our roots. The Pilgrims eked out a living by sweat equity and perseverance. They understood that in order to live, they had to raise crops of edibles, harvest wild nuts and berries, and either harvest game or kill some of the livestock they raised. They understood the cycle of life as a simple matter of surviving or not. They also understood the need to manage game populations. In 1646, Rhode Island decreed that no deer would be taken in the colony from May 1st to November 1st to allow fawns to be born and reared. Our hunting seasons today are based on modern scientific tools used by wildlife managers and biologists to ensure that hunters take from the excess of game and leave viable populations for tomorrow. Regulated hunting has never resulted in the extinction of a species. Whether I harvest or not, hunting is still a special time with family and friends. It's being away from the office with only the sun and the stars to tell time, away from traffic jams and out of the urban buzz that so many of us live in. It's meaningful visits around a campfire. It's exercise that requires no gym or equipment other than what's on my back. It's pitting my wits and experience against the weather, the mountains, and the wildlife. It is the thrill of the chase. It's about forging a bond with sons and daughters that includes opportunities for lessons in ethics, safety, outdoorsmanship, appreciation for nature, and just good, clean fun. Hunting keeps me connected to nature and ever aware of the cycle of life. Hunters are the original conservationists. In the 1930s, hunters worked in Congress to pass the Pittman-Robertson Act, whereby an 11% excise tax on the sale of firearms, ammunition, and hunting and archery equipment goes to state wildlife agencies for wildlife management. That's not just for big game, waterfowl, and upland birds like quail and pheasants. That money benefits all wildlife, including wildlife for which there is no hunting season. If you enjoy seeing wildlife in Arizona, thank a hunter. Part of the Apache culture of a successful hunt includes a prayer of blessing for and from the animal for sharing his life and the meat with us. When I'm fortunate enough to harvest an animal, then the work begins. One of the responsibilities of hunting is proper care and cleaning of the animal so that meat is not wasted nor lost. It's also part of the pride in being able to put quality meat on the table and share with family and friends. Some may try to convince you that in order to save nature, it must be preserved, meaning hands off and observing it from afar. A hunter knows better. Nothing in nature ever remains the same. My love for nature comes from my connection to it and from being a part of the cycle of life. For example, in 1900, there were less than 500,000 white-tailed deer nationwide. Today, thanks to hunters' contributions and dedicated state wildlife managers, there are more than 30 million white-tailed deer in the U.S. Before I take a calculated clean shot, I know that because of the efforts of my fellow hunters and conservation-minded sportsmen before us, there will be game to hunt next year and the next and the next. I'm part of the cycle of life. I'm ever close to the land and the animals I pursue. The traditions of hunts past are relived in fond memories. Hunting is good for the soul, good for the land, and good for the wildlife.
The Boy Scouts of America is one of the nation's largest and most prominent values-based youth development organizations. The Boy Scouts of America provides programs for young people that build character, train them in responsible citizenship, and develop personal fitness. For over a century, Boy Scouts has helped build future leaders of this country by combining educational activities and lifelong values with fun. One of the fun activities available to Scout troops, as well as other groups and organizations, can be found at the Indoor Archery and Air Rifle Building at the Ben Avery Shooting Facility in Northwest Phoenix. Here, kids of all ages learn safe handling techniques and have a chance to hone their newfound skills.
Our boys are here to learn archery and and air rifles and learn safety as well as some skills on how to shoot. Something like this is very important to our boys to learn, you know, proper safety around either archery or air rifles, and, you know, respect them and not think of them as toys. So I think this is a great opportunity for them.
Most of these young men had never fired a rifle or shot a bow before today.
Well, I know now that they're here, they're having a ball. They were pretty excited about coming here in the first place. You know, they couldn't wait for the day to get here, so I know they're pretty happy, and I think they're impressed with the facility too. They were expecting to be, you know, out in the desert on an outdoor range, so I think this is, you know, maybe spoiling them a little bit.
Airgun shooting is one of the fastest growing shooting sports in America, and competitive shooting can lead to college scholarships or even a chance at Olympic competition. Lessons learned from target shooting include accountability, honor, integrity, commitment, teamwork, self-confidence, and many others. Through target shooting, people develop positive personal character traits important to becoming a good citizen.
So we kind of consider it to be a special treat to be able to come here and do this at the nice facility. You know, usually this is the kind of thing the boys only do at summer camp, maybe once a year.
Archery is another special activity available at the indoor range. Archery has become increasingly popular in recent years as schools and recreational programs strive to find activities that appeal to kids and adults, singles and families in a variety of group settings. Educators, group leaders, and recreation instructors find archery is safe and easily learned. Beginners become proficient with minimal assistance, and they improve their skills quickly with practice. The Game and Fish Department knows that helping youth is a key to building a more conscientious, responsible, and productive society. Getting kids and adults away from their computer games and participating in outdoor activities is good for their development and is a wonderful opportunity for quality time.
That is a good score.
Schade hat de jego hat de schar da is at khatonsen shdish chido khushte ato da is na jebe khosh ada.
I want to go hunting because I've never been hunting before in my life. It will make my family proud. I think this will be a good way to learn what it means to be a Navajo.
We have 17 hunters that were selected for this year's annual youth hunt. These youngsters come from all over the Navajo Nation. Each applicant was required to submit an application packet which included a one-page essay on why they wanted to participate in this event.
Miller. I'm here to hunt and learn how to use a firearm.
Where are you from?
I'm Gallup from New Mexico.
A lot of these kids are coming from single-parent homes where they don't have anyone at home to teach them the basics of hunting or being outdoors.
It's not just a fun hunt. It captures the very essence of passing an outdoors and hunting heritage on to a younger generation. The stories that pass during the hunt, at mealtime, and around the campfire at night become the very foundation of institutional knowledge, not just of the family and community, but the core of our very being.
We want to be teaching our young people about the cultural aspects of hunting, the cultural aspects of Mother Earth, and the cultural aspects of being outdoors. And we do have challenges, but when we come out here for our hunt here with the kids, we want their undivided attention. We want them to be focused on here, being outdoors, the land, the animals, all of the things that go along with it. Even the people, you know, we want them to be focused on the people that are here, that are here for them. And so far it's worked.
The Navajo Nation recognizes that getting people outdoors is essential to perpetuating their heritage and developing a citizenry that cares about and advocates for wildlife and the environment. It's a lesson we should all learn.
We're committed to this project because we think it's important for our young people to be exposed to the aspects of hunting. We think that it's important for them to know what they have in their backyards, and that the resources that we have as a tribe are enormous. And hopefully we teach them that they too have certain responsibilities as being tribal members. That's one of the reasons why we do this project, is because we want to teach our young people to be responsible. Personally, I feel really proud, you know, because I've watched these kids from day one, from the time that they bring their application in with their fingers and toes crossed, hoping to be a part of the project. And you see them grow, you know, from the first time that they handle a .22 firearm at hunter's education. You know, some of them are really afraid.
I was pretty nervous because I didn't know if I can shoot it. Maybe I'll miss or something. Yeah, so I was pretty nervous, and I was excited because my first time ever I would get to go hunting, and it was cool shooting a gun.
They're really not sure of themselves. You work with them throughout the whole year. You go through a lot of practicing, a lot of one-on-one coaching.
And then it culminates here in the Carrizo Mountains in September. The kids arrive at the hunt full of energy, anticipating what's going to happen over the next few days. They're chomping at the bit, anxious to get out there and start hunting. But it's necessary to talk about a few things first.
We're visitors to this place. We're visitors to Mother Nature here. And there's certain rules that we have to follow when we're out here. One is that we need to keep the place nice. We need to keep the place clean. You know, if you don't set those ground rules, you're just going to have chaos. We need to make sure that, you know, when we leave here, there's no evidence of us being here. And I think that's very important to establish that mentality in their mind.
After introductions and welcoming remarks, the young hunters are taken to a very special area. Their eyes grow large when they see tables overflowing with goodies for them. Each one waits patiently for his or her name to be called to step forward. We're not just talking about a few hats and keychains. We're talking armloads of some very expensive hunting apparel and other goodies, some of which were specifically sized for the individual participant.
We have very, very generous supporters of our project.
I got boots, socks, a shirt, pants, a jacket, a backpack, a sleeping bag, and a hat, and a knife.
Right now our major sponsor is Michael Waddell of the Bone Collector Show, which airs on the Outdoor Channel. He has been a tremendous supporter of this project. We also have other contributors as well. We have Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation, Arizona Desert Bighorn Sheep Society, Expert Archery in New Mexico. We have a lot of sponsors just within our Navajo Nation government. A lot of Navajo Nation programs are contributing to this project in some way or another.
With arms loaded to overflowing, the young hunters made it to their tents for final preparations for the next day's hunt. Hunters had the choice of stalking or fixed stand hunting and were welcome to experience both. One thing that makes this such a successful event is the mentor program.
The majority of our mentors that we're using are Navajo Nation Department of Fish and Wildlife staff. These individuals are renowned hunters. We feel that it's important for our mentors to have good communication and good working relationship with the youth hunter. That's one of the things that we try to establish very early on in the project.
Really got me into it, you know, wanting to hunt. He actually, you know, inspired me to go and keep hunting. He showed me some stuff, ways to hunt it down.
We also use mentors from outside the department.
These outside mentors have demonstrated their expertise and experience in being an outdoorsman in terms of being ethical, respectful hunters.
Yeah, he had me, going down to a little muddy pond, and he wanted to see if there's a deer prints, if they're fresh.
And that's where the Arizona Game and Fish Department steps in. Larry Voiles, director of the Arizona Game and Fish, explains why it's important for the department to be involved in youth programs such as these.
Our hunting heritage is important to the Navajo Nation. It's important to the Arizona Game and Fish Department. And kids' connection with nature and kids' involvement with wildlife is important to all of society. In one weekend, we can see these kids grow, see their confidence levels increase, see their passion and attention to nature go to a level that it's never been before. It's no different, no matter what culture you're in. Hunting, fishing, enjoyment of the outdoors is important to all of us, and it's really important to the health of our society. I think a lot of times we get focused on the concept of the hunt, and we forget just what it means for people to be out in the outdoors with their children, teaching them to be responsible in an environment where they have to be safe, where they have to be responsible, where they have to think of their stewardship of the resources. And they really do. They step up and grow in ways that most people just do not understand. And I think that's important for all of us, and that's why we're here.
Responsibility, ethics, stewardship, passion for wildlife and wild areas. They are all such important lessons for the youngsters to learn and so difficult to teach. Gloria Tom explains how the Navajo Nation addresses this learning experience.
We work with the kids all year round. Early on when they're first selected, we make sure that they understand that they're in a very unique program. Not every kid is afforded this opportunity. And we let them know that very on in the process, and we also tell them that the person that they're assigned to, their mentor, is someone who is very committed to the project and somebody who knows a lot about hunting and about being outdoors.
Good shot. You got him, man. Give me a high five. Good shot.
It's important in order for the youth hunter to be a success in this program that they have to listen and they have to understand what's being told to them by their mentor. The relationship that the mentor has with the youth hunter is a very special relationship, and it requires mutual respect from both sides. And that's just something that we promote with the kids and with the mentors. If we don't have that connection, then of course you're not going to have a good working relationship. And that's what it takes in order for the youth hunter to be successful in our program.
For the mentors, the hunt also holds special meaning.
Every kid is just anxious, we're excited, they're just like, they want to be out there, they want to be a success. And it's so neat to see them succeed. When they bring in their animal, they're so proud of themselves, they're just, you see them, their chests get a little bigger, and their heads maybe get a little bigger, and they just feel really proud of themselves that they've succeeded. And I think that's the neatest thing for me to see. For me, it makes it all worthwhile.
Well, I do want to do this again sometime again. It was fun. I really like going hunting. Yeah, it was awesome.
This is where it's at, so I'm very satisfied with that.
Wherever there's bugs, there's bait fish, there's bluegills, okay? Wherever there's bait fish and bluegills, there's birds. And wherever there's bait fish, bluegills, and birds, there's bass. So I call it the bee theory. It's amazing how many things come with bee. Bacteria, bugs, bait fish, bluegills, birds, and bass. They all go together. If I'm in that area, kind of the concept where there's groceries, people shop. Okay, if I'm where there's birds, bait, bluegills, bugs, and all that, I can probably bet that there's some bass somewhere around in the area. So with a little bit of fishing techniques, covering some water, starting on a main lake point, fishing down the bank, fishing the channel, fishing the back, I kind of cover the water, the area of where I think those fish should be. It's very critical to make sure that you're giving the right presentation to the fish. And sometimes just being very methodic and covering every little detail, combing the water is a good word. You make, for example, this bay here, if I made a series of fan casts one way and back, I can thoroughly tell myself I covered the water good. And if I only make one cast there, one cast in the middle, and one cast over here, I've left a lot of that water uncombed. So the more thorough you can be when you get in those right places, the better. That bee theory, for me, is everything.
Well, that's our show for this week. For more information on the many shooting opportunities at Ben Avery's shooting facility, visit our website. I'm Jim Paxon with producers Carol Lynde and Gary Schafer. We'll see you next week.